There's something rather unique about the gold and silver stacking community that I've noticed ever since I started this channel about 2 years ago. There seems to be a good amount of PTSD in this community when it comes to the topic of confiscation and this idea that the government wants your gold and silver. Don't get me wrong, Roosevelt's act of outlawing gold ownership in 1933 definitely crossed the line and resulted in a very unfair transfer of wealth for those that turned in their gold. If you listen to the wrong people here on YouTube though, you would think that there's going to be a confiscation act of 2024, or the people talking about confiscation are traumatized because they lived through it. Now, before you get the urge to cook away, I promise this isn't another video debating whether confiscation will happen again. We've already covered that before, but in a nutshell, just remember these key points. 1, the act of 1933 is quote unquote voluntary. 2, the government did not go door to door looking for people's gold. 3, plenty of people simply kept their gold. 4, only one person went to jail behind this, and that was after he essentially provoked the government to arrest him. And guess what? They did. 5, regardless of what Lynette Zhang and others say, there's no reason to believe that pre-33 gold would be exempt. And number 6, which is maybe the most important one, the government has way more diabolical and less combative ways to get your gold if they really want it. From where I sit, the government could care less about the gold and silver we hold. We are a part of a very elite club. We are only 1/2 of 1% of people who own precious metals. You probably never thought you'd ever be part of 1%. That aside, the government needing and then taking our metals is equivalent to like giving a whale a Tic Tac for its bad breath. It ain't gonna make a difference. As I mentioned, the government is more diabolical and has better ways to take things from us, especially our gold. And that is simply because the system is designed for you to be broke. This is far more problematic than the government potentially taking your gold and silver. The system design is what worries me much, much more. Every system has its positives and the negatives. And sometimes the negatives are simply flaws in the system, while other times they are part of the system design. Over the last few years, I've gotten to know a number of people in this community, and it breaks my heart when I hear about the number of people that had to liquidate their stack or been forced to liquidate their stack because they didn't properly prepare and have a solid financial foundation. It's one thing to intentionally liquidate some of all your stack for whatever reason. Heck, I've sold some off before a little while back, but being forced to do it is another thing. As Rick Rule says, spenders are plentiful, but savers are few. Why is this the case? We have to keep reminding ourselves that our economic system is designed, intended, and actually needs us to be broke. The government doesn't want your gold or silver because gold and silver aren't a real threat to the system. The reason why they don't like gold and silver is because when you buy it, you're taking money out of the system. You're taking money out of circulation, and that impacts the velocity of money. They don't like how gold and silver are a reminder that paper money is fake. Our national GDP and entire economic system is dependent upon you spending. In fact, the system wants you spending every dollar you have as well as your future dollars and taking on debt. Again, it's not gold and silver that bothers our government. It's you practicing sound money management. By design, the dollar is supposed to lose 2 to 3% every year. Your financial education, your sound money management, and your possession of precious metals counteracts the system design. Let's take a few moments and dig a little deeper into this. Hypothetically speaking, let's say you had a system that was dependent upon the consumer spending. What would you do if you were in charge of such a system? Maybe you would start by building an education system that was designed to teach youth to conform and be good employees by sending in straight little roles, almost like you were preparing to be factory workers. Maybe you would teach them the skills they need to be a good employee and never teach them the essential life skills like money, how money works, money management, how to balance their checkbook, the dangers of their credit card. And you definitely wouldn't encourage them to be entrepreneurs or business owners. As a quick aside, how many of you remember being taught how to write a check, but never being taught how to balance your checkbook? The irony, right? Now, back to our hypothetical situation. Maybe you would teach them that they should work and be loyal employees to a company, to work there for 30 years, retire, and hopefully they'll get a gold watch at the end of the time. Folks, what we are dealing with is not a system defect, it's a system feature. It's by design. Maybe if you were running this system, you would teach them that their home should be their biggest investment so that they can spend 30 years paying off a loan to the bank where the interest almost literally doubles the amount that they borrowed. You know, the same banks that get to use fractional reserve lending, where they are only required to hold a fraction of customer deposits and reserves, which then allows the banks to literally create money out of thin air. I mean, you could literally allow your bankster friends to take $1 in deposits and loan out $10 more into existence, and no one would even know, right? That's not even the worst part. Your real genius creation, hypothetically speaking, of course, would be you constructing a tax system that taxes employees when they earn, and when they go to spend whatever they have left, you impose another tax on top of that. Let's call that maybe a sales tax, which would allow you to tax them again. Meanwhile, all the businesses and investors will get all the best tax write-offs, which would allow them to pay little or nothing in taxes. Folks, this isn't a system defect. It's the system feature. It's by design. Since the system needs people to keep spending for the economy to expand, maybe your next creation would be creating a culture where it's more important for people to look rich as opposed to being rich. You know, a culture where cars, clothes, jewelry are all designed to make the next person jealous. A culture where more things are supposed to make you happier. After that, maybe you could work with your bank friends again to give people the ability to spend money they don't have. I mean, wouldn't it be genius if you can create a system where you could allow people to spend tomorrow's money today? And when they spend tomorrow's money today, you could charge them interest, or your bank friends, of course, for the luxury of being impatient and spending what they don't have in order to get something they want or can't even afford, but they get it today. It's not a system defect. It's the system feature. It is by design. I truly hope you can sense my sarcasm because I was definitely laying it on thick to make a point. Sarcasm aside, this is exactly how our economic system is designed. We've been taught to earn, accept taxation, spend everything we have left, go back to work so we can earn another check and start the process all over again for the next 30 years. We've been encouraged to work for a lifestyle that is about consuming as much as possible because if some is good, that must mean more is better. Frankly, the last thing you need to worry about is the government taking your gold and silver. They take 30% of what you earn, make you pay another 10% when you spend, give you a loan sharkish home loan, and convince you to overspend whatever is left where they get to charge you interest again. Don't worry about gold and silver confiscation. Focus on how the system is confiscating your quality of life. It's far more important that you focus on the ways you are stealing from your future and your future self with the daily financial decisions you make. We have to break the more money means more spending mentality. Please don't ever forget this acronym. JOB stands for just over broke. And remember the phrase, employers pay you just enough so that you don't quit, and employees work just hard enough not to get fired. This isn't a system defect. It is a system feature, and it is by design. Walmart makes more than $150 billion in profit, but their employees just scrape by making minimum wage. The government and its system wants you broke. It's designed for you to be broke and in debt. They could give a damn about the half of a 1% that holds precious metals. The goal is to suck us dry, and eventually the gold and silver will be theirs as well. Before you worry about government confiscation, I think it's far more important that you focus on the two most important things you can do to break free of this system and the rat race, which are 1, control your desire to consume and your desire to want more, and 2, break free of debt. If unchecked, your desire to consume will become an insatiable desire. Kind of like Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors, feed me, Seymour. Some of y'all will get that later. First, it starts with a drop of blood or a $50 debt. Then you need a new outfit, or your kid has to have these new sneakers because it's what all the cool kids are wearing and they're $300. And so you just charge it. So you continue charging it and it continues to grow. And the next thing you know, you're limiting your future because of those future dollars are already owed to someone else. This is the system. This is by design. Debt is a thief. It robs you every day by stealing parts of your future and ruining today by making you pay for your past bad decisions. While you are responsible, it's not totally your fault. This is not a system defect, as I keep saying. This is all by design. Instead of worrying about the government taking your metals, worry about what they are actively trying to steal from you right now. Stack your metals, but be far more concerned about the government systems that are actively trying to steal everything you have. Get debt free, stay within your monthly budget, have 3 months of savings, and stack your metals because the biggest threat to your metals is your poor money management that will require you to sell your metals when you're not ready, not the government coming and taking them. Let's focus on what you can control. You can't control what the government will do, but you can control what financial decisions you make every day. I think you will find that much more impactful and productive than worrying about the fictional government gold confiscation monster. In the comments section, what was your biggest takeaway from this video? What do you see as the biggest threat to your stack? Or simply put an A+ in the comments to let everyone know that you always stack smarter and never stop learning.